All right, time for the underdog parlay. Got a bit of a whopper here. I think I actually have the shortest dog of the three of us for the first time, maybe ever. But it's not that short. Anthony, you can go first.
Yeah, so I teased it already. It's Borussia Mönchengladbach. You can find them as high as plus 650 against RB Leipzig. And look, on a week-to-week basis, I've pretty much given up betting Gladbach. I mean, the defensive numbers have fallen off. They have not been as consistent as they were, a year or two ago when they were much better and competing, week in, week out in those top six, top four places. They've fallen off, and even after the big win against Bayern, what they do? They went to Mainz and got roped 3-0. So now we get Leipzig in a horrendous spot with the Champions League looming. Leipzig just had their dreams of the title pretty much dashed at Dortmund in a 2-1 loss. They don't really have a realistic chance at the title anymore. And so I think at least for a couple of weeks, you're going to see them focusing on this City match. And what that means is that Gladbach is ripe to pick them off. And it's not like Gladbach doesn't love an upset. They've beaten Leipzig at home earlier this season, destroyed them. They rolled Dortmund, and they beat Bayern. And I know there was a red card in the Bayern game, but they won the XG in all three of those games. So it's not like Gladbach is getting fortunate to win these matches. They play up well. And why? Kone, especially in the midfield, they're very good at when they do turn possession. They like to be a possession team that doesn't really press. They kind of sit off a little bit. But when they play these better teams, they're actually very good at kind of adapting, winning the ball, and then immediately springing guys in behind. You saw that in the Bayern match if you watched it. And so I think that will work against this Leipzig team. I mean, that's how Dortmund beat them in the first half. So I'm going to roll with the Foles plus 650, and I'm going to take them on the spread as well.
Let's stay in Germany. I like Schalke plus 375 against Dortmund in the Riviera Derby. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, Dortmund, one of three teams in Europe that has yet to lose a match since the World Cup. They're due for some poor finishing luck. 22 goals on about 16 expected since then. And they also haven't really played that tough a schedule since the World Cup. So maybe the numbers are a little inflated. They also just lost to Chelsea on Tuesday in a Champions League match where they were up 1-0 heading to Stamford Bridge. So a little bit of a letdown spot. I know it's a derby, but not a great spot regardless. Schalke, by the way, they're in the middle of a relegation scrap, and they seem to have just throwing the book at at being a defensive side. 1 goal allowed in their last 6 matches in the Bundesliga. It's absurd. 6.3 expected goals. So yeah, some defensive regression, but it's 1 expected goal allowed per match for this team since the World Cup, basically. Only 5 total goals in those games too. Would they have 4 0-0 draws in a row in the Bundesliga? This is beautiful. Turn this thing into a rock fight. Get them at plus 375. What should be a raucous atmosphere.
I kind of agree with the side.
They're not the worst team in the Bundesliga.
No. Sure. Yeah, this is a smash spot. They should be minus 110. I'm just kidding. But no, they it's a good price in a derby. You throw the book out the window
all derby, even money both ways.
So Schalke for me. PJ, what do you have?
Almeria 4-1. You want to take a guess who they're playing?
Sevilla.
One of my favorite teams. My favorite spot. My favorite thing about this entire season, all the leagues, is just fading Sevilla week in and week out. It's been so much fun, and I cannot wait. I'm probably going to be 50 years old by the time this happens. When Lazio finally turns into what Sevilla is right now, I'm going to enjoy it so much. I'm very much enjoying what's happening in Sevilla right now. They're in a sandwich spot. They're going to have to put everything into the Europa League because they have no shot at getting to a European spot in Spain, and they're getting dangerously close to the relegation battle as well. And this Almeria team, listen, they're very, very bad defensively, but they are in the top half of La Liga in non-penalty expected goals. They are pretty good at counterattacking side. They're 5th in final third of penalty box entry conversion rate. Sevilla, somebody who's been very, very bad in transition defense and really bad defensively overall this season. I mean, we just mentioned, just got 6 put past them by Atletico Madrid. And again, this Almeria team, they pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the La Liga season. They beat Barcelona at home, and it wasn't like a fluke 1-0 win. Like, it was very, very even match on expected goals. Barcelona just got caught in a sleepy spot, and I think that's what Sevilla is going to be here. I mean, we cashed with Osasuna 2 weeks ago, so let's just go right back to Sevilla. So Almeria at 4-1 for me, and they beat Sevilla earlier this season as well.